What's up? Hello, everyone. This is Miss G. 50 Shades of Glow. Getting comfy here. 1 second. Let me get my wine. Hold on. I hope everyone is well tonight. Look what I got. Hello there. You know I love her. And she's not paying me to do this, but I love her. I've watched her since 2018 when she was in her kitchen, honey. So I hope everyone is well. Hello, Facebook, and hello, YouTube. Africa awaits. My name is Gloria. I am a certified travel and lifestyle consultant. I have traveled over uh, several years, a span of ooh, 30, 40 years, 40 years, but really, really international in the last, I don't know, 10 years. I have traveled to about 15 countries or so. Uh, I'm a, I am a solo traveler. I love it. And I'm a 50 plus traveler. And I am here. I fell in love with Africa. And my story is that I was working for a corporate company, travel company. Was a corporate company that does travel. That's more accurate. And behind clients that have the money to travel. And my extensive travel in the continent, I was recommended to, approach them to be a destination specialist for the continent of Africa. And in short, the company did what Western companies will do and very nicely said that Africa really doesn't matter. No one travels to Africa. But the funny thing is that when I travel to the continent, I'm usually the only Black person in the tourist space. Um, you see Black people everywhere in Africa, but LaShawn, I was thinking about you today. Oh my gosh, I saw you on my on my thing on my in my contacts. And I was like, yeah, I wonder what LaShawn Fred is doing. Hey, girl, how are you? Hope all is well. So, yeah, so my company, when I reached out to them, because they would always ask, well, what's your feedback? How can we be better? And I said, hello, I would like to, hey, Miss Courtney, welcome. I would love to be a destination specialist for the continent of Africa. And my company finally, after ignoring me for about a year, they finally came back because I said, hey, y'all asked and no one's really responded. And I think this is a great opportunity. I would love to represent and learn about the continent. I've already been there. And they told me, that's so nice, but no one travels to Africa. I was like, okay, so that's what we do in corporate America. That's what we doing. That's what we do in corporate America. Okay, nobody travels to Africa. Who pays for those safaris in Africa? Start at like $4,000 a person. In Rwanda, in Uganda, to not elephant tracking, gorilla trekking, it's like $20,000. Black folks don't have that time to chase a gorilla for $20,000. But they told me, honey, nobody go to Africa. And the only African, and someone can co-sign for me. See, this is perfect. Somebody co-sign. The person co-sign for me and tell them, how our former company used to be, child. If we went on their travel website, there was two countries that was represented um in Africa. And child, that was Mauritius and Seychelles. They're not even connected to the freaking continent. They're not even connected to the continent. They're very Africa adjacent. Yes, they're African countries, but like we have learned, there's several African countries that's not even connected to the continent. They like islands in the middle of the Indian Ocean or in the Atlantic Ocean where the Europeans then took over anyway. You go over there's no black people, especially except the ones that's like working at the hotels, but there's no like black folks like living because the money, the colonizers' money has gone to the Europeans' money has gone to this private island. Okay. Okay. So I'm on one tonight. I'm on one. I'm on one. So yeah, they shared with me, honey, that for the new people, because my glow tribe, they've heard the story. They said, oh no, that's nice, but no one travels to Africa. I said, okay. Oh, that's what we're doing. Okay. So that's no problem. I'll just start setting up to take that niche. So um months and everything, I was just positioning myself to, I said, I'm going to not only have a travel consultancy, because one thing I was trained very well with my former company. They were, I mean, it was a great company to work for, but you know, just have that slip up. They came and helped themselves. It was a great company to work for, and I learned a lot there. So, um, uh, I can book anything anywhere in the world. I just decided to focus on Africa because Africa has so much beauty and my travels. And I've only been to a couple of African countries, but my goal is to hit all of the African countries. um, all of the African countries. Hi, Miss Angela. Welcome. Welcome to the Glow Tribe. We here talking about the continent of Africa. And I'm so excited. Excited one that new people are jumped on. I do appreciate you, Miss LaShawn and Miss Strong. My Glow Tribe, send out new people some hearts in the chat because we're here talking about understanding. Hey, Kaden, welcome. About different things. And I'm excited tonight on my research. And I may do a part two on this because I know a couple of Americans that has lived in Rwanda. And they said that Rwanda was great, but it was kind of on the boring side. And in my research, I have found that uh, Rwanda has come like a long way. Now, I want any of y'all to put a one in the chat. Does this? I'm gonna say a couple of things if y'all remember this, and I know y'all will be telling y'all age, but does anyone remember two things? Does anyone remember the movie Hotel Rwanda? Has anyone seen that movie? Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat if y'all have heard about Hotel Rwanda. Put a one in the chat. And have you seen Hotel Rwanda also? Let me see. Yes, 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 yes. So you're giving a little bit about it. So I'm just like, I can't even get my words together because I'm so excited about Rwanda. First, y'all know I like to give my my African handbags, um, Lebo handbags. And for Rwanda, so you know I'm loving Rwanda. I want to give Rwanda 5 Lebo handbags. Uh-oh. I cracked myself up. I'm going to give Rwanda 5. Thank you. They love the movie. They seen the movie. But did you see the struggle in the movie? And how the refugees had to flee, and the only water source they had was in the pool at the hotel. Do y'all remember that? That hotel now, hey Rod, that hotel now is a landmark 5-star hotel. 5-star hotel. Rwanda is the shit. Rwanda, everybody's sleeping on Rwanda. Like seriously. 5 handbags for, I'm so excited to talk about Rwanda in so many ways. Okay. So Rwanda, it has come back from the ashes. Because does anyone in the chat, and I know there's a lot of folks in the chat around my age, so they should know, does anybody remember the Hootsies and the Tutsis? What? Does anybody remember the Hootsies and the Tutsis? Hey, Rod, does anybody remember the Hootsies and the Tutsis? That was ugly time. That's a very ugly time. Very ugly time when it was war. It was a mass genocide. I think over 100,000 people were killed during that time. It was a massive, massive genocide during that time, killing refugees, the whole nine. The ironic thing is that I'm just feeling like fuzzy with it. Where Rwanda is now, Rwanda is almost like South Africa, Kenya, very Hutsis and the Tutsis were the two tribes that were fighting against each other, trying to kill each other off, just like what's going on in Hamas. It was like that deep. And the Hutsis, so it was, I forgot who was connected to the Hutsis, but the Tutsis went to take over from the Hutsis and wanted to kill off all of the Hutsis to get the land. It's basically a repeat of what is going on now in Gaza. Same thing. Same thing. So I'm shocked that, yeah. You remember the Hutsis and the Tutsis, man. So basically Rwanda went down to nothing, right? The new leadership. Now, Rwanda is a couple of things that y'all need to write down here. Rwanda is one of the cleanest countries in the world, not just Africa. Cleanest countries in the world. Friendliest people. Now, this is coming from genocide. And I'm gonna, kind of throw some shade at where we are. I always do. But their genocide was in 1994. That's when everything went down. It started off with, I think it was the Tutsis shooting down the plane of the president. That was April 7th, 1994. 1994 wasn't that long ago. My oldest daughter was born in 92 and she's 30. So like 20 something years ago, Rwanda went through a full-fledged genocide. They shot down the president's plane and then they went off. They went off. It was people fleeing, refugee. It was a mess. A mess. Total, like how you see what's going on in Haiti, like that whole imagery. That's what went on with Rwanda. Now, Rwanda, infrastructure on point. It is the second best place to do business in Africa, the 38th place in the world to do business. Rwanda is that place up and coming, everybody sleeping on it. So, the reason why I'm giving it 5 handbags, what I usually do, I look at like the travel aspect, the political aspect. They have one of the lowest noted corruption rates or any funny business in the political system. And I'm saying all of this because it's a punchline at the end. It's one of the cleanest. It is the 7th safest country in the world. The 7th, not in Africa, in the world. Rwanda is the 7th safest country in the world. The infrastructure's there, cleanliness, respect, all of that. And guess who run the country? That's the punchline. Guess who run the country? A woman. Guess who is 61% of parliament? Women. Guess who's 50% of government, period? Women. Who's 56% of the CEOs in Rwanda? Women. But the United States say, oh my God, no, don't put a woman in. She's too emotional. They ain't had a war since. They haven't had turmoil since. They haven't had a coup since. Nobody, everybody's quiet. The country went from a genocide to the top of doing business, growth, infrastructure in less than 30 years. If you want to succeed, Rwanda is noted to be the best place for a woman, like woman leadership. Best place to be a woman is in Rwanda. No one knew that. Did anyone know that? Put that in the chat. Put that in the chat if y'all knew that Rwanda was the place for women empowerment. So women president, 61% of parliament is women, half of government, like local governments, women, and 56% of the CEOs, banks, everything, corporate America in Rwanda are women. They got the safest, the second in doing business. They're the 7th and the safest. They're one of the cleanest. But we don't know what we're doing in the United States. But Africa got it. Africa got it. Isn't that interesting? The third world backwards with the flies around their head. The women's running the country and they're just blowing up. Blowing up. So that's why I give it and was so excited to talk about tonight. Well, I'm just so excited. And I understand now why it's so many people that I've run into that has gone to Rwanda. Now, me, not understanding, I would say ignorant, right? That Rwanda, because all we saw on TV, when it was TV, 20, 30 years ago. That's all we saw was TV, not all the cables. YouTube didn't exist. And so it's what the Western media showed us. So we thought Rwanda was, seriously, everybody poor, struggling, the genocide at the Tutsis killing the Hutsis, and just a mess. And now that place is the place to be, is nothing but the truth. Nothing but the truth. So I share with anyone, okay, that will listen, and I'm going to I'm going to continue to say it, that we have choices here. And again, we have choices as US citizens. Period. We're US citizens. Yeah, we Black and we get the business, but we do get the benefits of being a US citizen and having that passport. That passport is one of the most valuable things you can ever have. And you have the choice. You have choices. And I see a narrative going around that I'm very excited about, that I want to share, just kind of off topic real quick, to give me a little break about being so excited. I'm going to get more into the weeds about Rwanda. But there's a couple things that's going on and when people see this topic, they probably won't. So we'll only know this. This is like between me. If y'all notice that there has been a narrative, and we need to start playing chess and not checkers. Because on November 5th, America, not Trump, America, the America we live in, the America we go to work, the America we pay taxes, America where we get educated, the America that we think we getting a dream from, told us clearly, if y'all did not pick up what America was putting down on November 5th, you just don't want to get it. Just don't want to get it. So if y'all are comfortable just being here and say, oh, well, so a lady I was talking to, well, we just got to stay and fight. For what? I'm 60. I ain't fighting with no people for the next whatever years until I'm not fighting with anybody. I'm going to live my life like it's golden. And we got the choices. Other countries don't have the freedom to travel. I have a guest coming in, what is it, tomorrow or on the 24th? They were supposed to come a couple weeks ago. They had to cancel because they didn't get their visa approved. And they was coming from Germany going to Africa. Not Africa, going to Germany. So we just take for granted that blue passport. We take for granted that US blue passport, when other countries, I think, except for Japan, you got to go through the embassy and through all these hoops to travel. You can't just say, oh, I want to go to Bali. I want to go to Timbuktu. I want to go here. I want to go there. Other countries can't do it. So let's start playing. Oh, I hate to do that. Oh, I didn't mean to hit my hands like that. That's so ghetto. But let's start playing chess instead of checkers, and what I've been seeing, and definitely the directions we definitely need to go. We work here, but invest in Africa and lay a foundation, because we are, just to remind you, we are the number one consumer in this United States. So how about if half of us left? Do you know how the GDP of the United States would look if their number one consumer was out of here? And then remember, every person that leaves here, and it's not only Black people that's leaving, the white folks are over it too. People are taking their pensions, people are taking like all their money. So the powers that be here, they're really not thinking. And then people in the United States aren't having children like they used to. They have dogs and stuff like that, dogs and cats. So where is the the new or young talent to keep this country going? Because again, we're the number one consumers, and then Black women are the number one most educated. So we are that populous. So if we go, the other folks, they're not that bright. You know what I'm saying? They think because of their color that they can just go. They've been kind of rolling on that. So where's this country? You just think about it. Something, just homework to think about. Where do you think this country is going to be in 20 years from a financial standpoint with the AI? So the AI is giving you the option to be lazy, not think anything like that. So who will, as far as people, because unless you want the country to run on robots, right? Where is the talent pool going to be in 20 years? It's not here because people aren't having kids and people are relying on AI to think. So anyway, so let me get back on. So it's just something to think about. You make your money here, you invest it in Africa. You take it out this. Okay. Hey, Miss Kalani. How are you, Miss Kalani? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Where are you on the side of the world? Miss Kalani is traveling. I've been looking at her. Where are you? And do you want to get on and tell us about where you have traveled? People would love it because we have a great group tonight that's on. So let me get into. All right. So Rwanda, they call it. Oh, you're in Vietnam. You're in Vietnam. Okay. She's in Vietnam. So we have another great traveler on. So I'm loving this traveling. So Rwanda is called the land of on a thousand hills, and it's because of the lush lands. It is a landlocked country, but it still has great resources, and it's because sisters are running the country. Nobody talking about that. Sisters are running Rwanda, and you see where it's come from to where it is now in less than 30 years. Okay. It was colonized by it was colonized in 1897 by the Germans. Yeah, the Germans. And the country, the capital is called Kigali. Okay, it's landlocked. It's in East Africa. It's extremely clean. It's extremely safe, like I had mentioned before. Has anyone been to Rwanda? That's on the chat right now. I don't want to embarrass y'all, but I want y'all to talk about it because, as I mentioned, I do my research, but I want people to talk about Rwanda. And I reached out. It hit me at the last minute that I know about 3 people, Americans, that have lived in Rwanda. So I reached out to them, but I mean, it was real last minute. So we may have a part 2 on Rwanda to have them talk. I'm not sure if they're stateside or they're in on the continent. If they're on the continent, you know, the time zones are massive. So it is 9:30. So it's usually 5. It's usually 5:30. It should be about 5:30, 4:30 in the morning over on the continent. So, you know, people not loving me that much to get out their bed. So at that time. So I'm trying to get one person. I don't know if she's on stateside or not, but to talk about, you know, their experience in Rwanda. Let me see. Yep, it's the 7th safest country in the world. Extremely clean. And a lot of people have heard about Rwanda and its rough times with Hotel Rwanda. It did have its genocide in 1994. It was April 7th, 1994. Everything broke loose. But fast forward today, it's almost like how South Africa is. South Africa was total apartheid. And, you know, I am old enough, young enough to remember the apartheid. It was terrible. It was terrible. And now to see South Africa where it is, it's like you continue to scratch your head of why the United States isn't there. We as black people, but someone kind of broke it down to me. And it makes sense. So these countries, they got sick of the rule and they, you know, rose up. But remember, in the continent, it is 90% Africans or black people. In the United States, we're only 13% of the population. So someone broke that down to me and I'm like, okay, I get it. And that's another reason why, the election probably went the way it did, but they voted in Obama twice. So it got to be a woman thing. But women keep everything together all the time. But are men afraid of that? They would rather be in a sinking ship than to have a woman that they depend on personally and everything handle stuff. Is that so rocked to their ego that they just can't take their ego can't take that? Knowing that women will handle have to get over my past negative impressions about what? Your negative impressions about Rwanda. I'm not understanding the comment. But yeah, um yeah, so it's amazing that South Africa's drop dead gorgeous and the black race, the black community, they chilling. They're really chilling over there. The houses are stunning, like mouth drop stunning. And people are doing very well. And it's very few people because I run into people. What time is it? I run into people, here that's like, oh, well, I ain't trying to leave because, uh, uh. But I don't know anyone that's gone over there that came back and said, oh, no, I can't do it. The only way they've come back, usually I get people that's like, I really don't want to come back, but I ran out of money. That's usually the case. But I haven't run into anyone that's like, yeah, I went over there, they were set, they were living, and they needed to come back to the United States because they felt the United States was better. The only thing that I've heard people come back to the United States, they made the decision to move to the continent on emotion. And that's a tip of the day. Do not on the relocation side, I stress, do not, well, do anything, most people, but do not, because I know a lot of people are in their feelings, maybe not, um, about the election results, but you do have to have a plan B, because you don't know what's going to pop off come January, after January 20th. It's not going to be pretty. Um, Got to have a plan, but you cannot be reactive to it. We should have started planning this 2 years ago when we saw it really wasn't any viable candidates. Um, we have to do yeah, we really needed to do the research and get ourselves positioned. It's very dangerous that you would, you know, do not. I haven't run into anyone that moved over to the continent and then came back to the US and said, oh, yeah, I miss the US so bad. And being over in the continent is not perfect. Trust. They get on your nerves, okay? I've wanted to fight some folk. I've wanted to fight some folks so bad. I'm like, but in the big scheme of things, I cannot, I just cannot um, continue to hear about the hypocrisy. And, you know, we've gone for years and scared to fill out a job application because it says, are you a convicted felon? Like, that's so bad. But but half, more than half of America thought that one was okay to represent this country. So, the hypocrisy and just the double standard, I just cannot do. They tried to put Obama to the stake because he wore a beige suit on Easter to a church. But we have I'm not even going to get back into it. All of y'all know. All right, so let's get some more good things about Rwanda. Great leadership. The infrastructure is wonderful. And with the modern infrastructure that they have built over the last 20 something years, it's still, you still have the areas where you have all this nature, um, the ecosystem running wild. That's where you're going to see the silverback gorillas in its own natural habitat. It's just dropped, it's lush, just drop dead gorgeous. Uh, they also have so many, talking about building businesses. Do you know that they have a African basketball league like the NBA here, but it's called the BAL, the Basketball African League, and it's big and it's owned by a black guy. It's owned by African with African board members and investors, and it is a big, big team. Okay, um, they got it going on, and it's so much just like collaborations and different um what do you call those things? I forgot what you call it, but it's so many business transactions going on in Rwanda, and it's happening with us. Some, of course, European money that's involved and Chinese money that's involved because they got the money. Let's call it what it is. But we're getting there. And as I mentioned, that they have predicted, because they've seen the trends in the continent of Africa, not just one country, in the continent of Africa, that the next set of million and billionaires will come out the continent of Africa in the next 2 decades. They haven't said that about what's going on in the United States. I know that the United States GDP is going to be slipping. It's going to be slipping bad. And how it's been such an exodus. And now, like, folks are really not playing. If you got it and you're young enough to say, I'm going, people are going, because it's like, okay, so what am I really getting at the end of the day here? Don't I want to live my life like it's golden? I want to live nicely. I want to, just chill. This is that. It's not a rat race. You get up, you're not doing every single thing over there in the culture. There is uh fortunate, unfortunately, is sex of of hierarchy, or still an ecosystem. So you're over there, you're working, you can focus on work because you have a housekeeper, you have um a caretaker, you have a driver, you have a cook, and that's just part of how you live. And you're not doing it all, so you're extending your quality of life, um and it's at a fraction, and you're not like constantly, and then constantly working hard and still not being appreciated. So don't you want to be in a place that you are appreciated and not tolerated? Something to think about. Because I hear people, oh, we need to just sit here and fight because we built this country. Yeah, by force and for free. And this country is just about as much ours as the colonizers that came. This is the indigenous country, the indigenous Indians or whatever. That's that. This is their country. We were brought here unwillingly, and then the colonizers took over. But this ain't our country. The continent is our country. We were just taken away from it. But we have been brainwashed that this is our country, and I ain't going nowhere. But yet, you just paranoid and you frustrated because you're being discriminated against at work. Do you want to live like that? Like for real? Please make it make sense to me. It's the best time of the year to go. I looked that up. I know that round trip is 1,300 and the rainy season is about the same as the other places in East Africa. So rainy season in East Africa, Miss Kalani, is like Aprilish. It starts around April and ends. Then high season picks back up like August. So from August, hey Miss Cheryl, hey Mercedes lady, if anyone is looking for a new car in the Fayetteville, North Carolina area, this is the Mercedes lady of the country. She's the Mercedes lady. Okay. Yeah. So, August till like March, April is a good time, and it's inland. So, they it rains. Every place has its rainy season. That's another thing that I like about the continent. And I talk about the ecosystem. The ecosystem is still pretty strong, because here, we have the seasons, but we don't know when it's going to rain. We don't know when it's going to, when it's going to snow. Maybe it'll snow and all of a sudden it snowed, or so, we have the seasons, but like there, you have a rainy season purposely to nourish the soil for harvest and agriculture, because agriculture is one of their biggest, money makers, and everything is very systematic over there. So, it's a distinct rainy season and a distinct dry season. They really don't have too much. They do have the summer and the winter, but they do have a rainy season too. And that is for a purpose. Everything that I've noticed is for a purpose. You know what I'm saying? It's for a purpose. What else? Let me see. Thank y'all. And please do me a favor. I haven't said this in a long time. I need y'all to do me a big favor. It is part of the entrance to get in. Just hit that share button. You don't have to tell nobody anything. You don't got to call nobody, nothing. Do me a favor, hit that share button, because sharing is caring. Sharing is strictly caring. And I know a lot of people would love this information, and I know you do not want to repeat it to them. So sharing is caring. So another thing with the female leadership of Rwanda, the president requires every single person that is in position to sign a performance contract. I'm loving this Rwanda. The only thing about Rwanda, like Botswana, because Botswana is right next door, Botswana is the bomb too. We talked about Botswana, but Botswana is free education, free healthcare, free business, like grants and Botswana is the bomb too. And Rwanda is right behind Botswana. They're neighbors. No, are they neighbors? No. Botswana is not East Africa. Botswana, South Africa. Sorry about that. but the same type of thing, same thing. But uh, they are required. Everyone that's in leadership in government is required to sign and adhere to a performance contract. So they have to do the things that is laid out successfully in order for them, and this is mandated by the president of Rwanda. That's a woman. You got to handle your business. You need to do this, this, and such in order for you to continue in that position. That is a mandate. Not okay, you just in there and you do whatever you want. No, 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 no. So that's why Rwanda has excelled so quickly and is really sitting on solid foundation. And then just another interesting, observation, there's little to no corruption. And I'm not saying men are corrupt. I apologize, Rod, to any of the guys that's on here. I'm not saying that guys are corrupt. But why is this one of the few countries in Africa that has no corruption? Just saying. Just saying. Um, Other great things about Rwanda and how I'm not saying it's westernized, but it's modernized. They have a very big fashion scene here, creativity, a really, really big fashion scene. They have culture, art galleries. Lalaine, how are you? Welcome. They have art gallery. They're into the arts. They have fashion. Um, it's just so much going on there. Stunning art galleries. What else? Uh, Let me see. What else? Uh, then they're real big on with the fashion into clothing. So if anyone knows, and we can't even relate to the stuff, and we're in this America that everyone dreams to go, the stuff that they do as normal, like every day, we're like, wow, that's only for the rich. So, as I mentioned, most people that have money or, that's doing like middle class and up, right? Um, they have a staff, they have people to help. That's normal. That's not like, oh, that's just for like the ultra rich people. Everybody has a housekeeper. And even with some of the apartments, the rental apartments that you get, rental apartments, if you get a service rental apartment in Africa, it comes with a maid. A maid comes in and cleans every day. And you can opt to get a cook. But your house gets cleaned every day. That's just normal. That's normal. That's normal stuff. You get a driver. You can hire a driver, you know, to drive you wherever. That's normal stuff. So with the fashion and what's very normal to them, and this is in other countries too, because I have some friends that's in Kenya, some guys, and they get all their clothes custom made. They don't buy stuff off the rack. They go to a tailor and they get measured. The tailor brings the fabric and they make the outfit custom for less than what we pay usually, to go into a store off the rack. And they get their clothes custom made. And it's not just Rwanda. I've seen it a lot of places. Like everything is made for you. Everything is made. So let me see. Another thing, let's talk about the foods and the drinks. Food. So the food in Rwanda is, variety. They have a couple of the um, popular dishes are the Rwandan fries, the pan fried pork. and the cassava leaf. That is really, really good. But that'd be hot. That'd be so hot. So, that's the food. And as I mentioned, from Miss Kalani, the seasons to travel and the flights. And this is, like I said, it depends on where you're flying from. I usually use like JFK, and it starts at about 1,300 round trip, and that's really not that bad. It's the shortest flight is about 16 hours, and Rwanda is rolling so well. They have their own airlines. It's called Rwanda Air, and Rwanda Air is one of the best airlines fleets out there. And Rwanda Air has made it a point to have their standards of excellence, not just being the best African airlines, but the best airlines, like in their business class, everything top notch for world standards, not African standards. So all I saw was high ratings. I've never been on Rwanda Air. I can't wait to get on Rwanda Air. When I get back to the continent, I'm able to, fly different places within the country. And, that's like dirt cheap. That could be, $100 round trip, $200 round trip, I think, from Kenya to Tanzania. I think it's about $200 each way. It all depends, depending on how you're flying and, the different hacks that you know. But Rwanda is one of the best airlines out there. But they're not talked about because they're African airline. And even Ethiopian Airlines was very nice too. And they are striving and adding, they're adding instead of cutting back, where a lot of other airlines are cutting back on routes. I know for a fact because I talked to some of the directors at Ethiopian Airlines. They said that they're growing and adding like 7 routes per year, really growing their airline because Africa is growing. Africa is not, something that we're like, ooh, Africa. Africa is becoming closer and closer to us in travel and everything. So it's a very, very exciting time. Does anybody have any questions? And again, I want to thank all the new folks for coming on. My name is Gloria. People call me G, Glow, whatever. I am a certified travel consultant. I curate travel all over, but Glamp Lux Travels has decided to curate travel to the continent of Africa only. And also with Glamp Lux Travels, I have decided to only vet African, Black, women, or indigenous partners, vendors. So if you book through Glamp Lux Travels, you will have a Black-owned business, and it's not just a Black-owned business. I also vet that business has to score at least 4.5 stars on Google to be put on the list of vendors. So you will definitely be taken care of. And again, going back to the whole ecosystem, we are really building that ecosystem because we have to now start putting our money back on our tables and building our core again. Anybody have any questions? They also have, since they have so much going on now, they have a lot of festivals. They have the Rwanda Film Festival. They have a Thanksgiving festival. They have a gorilla naming celebration, because you know the gorillas are very big in Rwanda, and the silverback, that's the only place that you're gonna find the silverback gorilla is there. What time is it? Ooh, where does the hour go? I be running my mouth and nobody jumps on. I cannot believe I be talking for an hour. I cannot believe I be talking for an hour. But yeah, and you do need the yellow fever uh, vaccination to go to Rwanda. But as I said before, Rwanda is a place. Uh, that's the bucket list, honey. Rwanda, Botswana, everything's quiet. But Botswana sitting on diamonds, and gold and oil and free education um, and free healthcare and free, and now Rwanda. And I was wondering why so many Americans was going to Rwanda, and now I understand. They did say that it was kind of boring compared to like other places like Nairobi or whatever. So, but if you are like more retirement, I think that place is really, really good. Oh, and I didn't touch on the cost of living. So the cost of living not that cheap. It's cheaper than what we got going on, and we get more. But houses can start at like $500,000, $500,000, and some apartments, but it is full service. 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom apartments can be 3 grand, but you're getting like everything, and you're getting housekeeping, gigantic apartments, like everything is like inclusive. So you're not paying for, I think you're not paying for utilities, you're not paying for internet. Everything is all in one, but it's not dirt cheap. But what's happening is probably much less expensive than what we're used to. But anyway, if there's nothing else, anybody want to come on and say anything? I want to thank y'all so much for coming on and spending y'all time with me today. Um, going through the journey of learning about the continent. I think is a wonderful thing, and I think is a great time that we are living in, even though sometimes it may be rough, but we have choices. We have choices, and I think it's the time to really exert that power. If we're just not comfortable in the space, and we don't have to, like, if we leave the United States, does not mean we can't come back in. I don't know what, sometimes people have that, like, that misconception that, oh my God, if I leave, so what am I going to do? Like, I can't come back. Yes, you will always come back again, because you are a U.S. citizen, you have their passport. But I don't want anybody to feel that they're stuck and they have to deal with the um, the uh, the fallout of the election and what's about to come. I don't, we better than that. We better than that. So let's plan. And I'm glad that we are on the journey together. So we are aware. And tonight, as I always do, I'll send y'all my little goodies. And if y'all have any questions, definitely DM me, give me a call. I always have I started putting my website in the chat, and my 2025 travel guide has launched. So put your pre-order in for that. And also, I have a relocation guide for African Americans that want to leave the United States to go to Africa. I have a comprehensive 40-page uh, travel relocation guide called Returning Home, and that is available too. Go to glampluxtravels.com and send me an email, and I can get that out to you. And that's it. So as we take off the weekend, And I'll see y'all on Monday. And I'm not sure what we're going to do on Monday because I did skip Namibia because I was supposed to have a guest from Namibia come on. So I'm just going to give them time. If not, we're going to go on to the next country, but we're going to get ready coming into December to go back over the countries. It won't be all 54 because we've gone through some countries that, is not any place to travel to. And but now we're going to for December going to revisit the countries that you can travel and live. And we're really going to take more of a deep dive into each of those. So you have those. Um, you'll have a great weekend. Thank y'all so much for coming on. Take care. Bye.